Perfect. I'd like to call this meeting in order for the Land Use and Planning Standing Committee, April 23rd. Doug and myself are here with Pete Critelli as a guest. And did you have a chance to go through the minutes? We have 2 of them.
Yes.
And are you okay with both of those?
Yep.
And so was I. Should we vote?
All in favor?
All in favor, correct. Okay, so the minutes are approved. And I'll be sending those on to Lonnie once everything's approved. Oh, Resolution 3644, resolution of intent to create rodeo park. Okay. Do you have this? It might have been in the packet.
I've seen that.
Council.
I don't know if I have it with me, but I have seen that.
Okay. And I'm trying to decide, so rodeo park would be the light blue that I don't see on here. And I'm having trouble understanding
This
it.
is basically the land west
Is
of,
it this?
yeah, it's the land west of the, road. And, well, west of the fence, I guess,
Okay, so it's literally between the ditch
and the fence.
and the fence line.
Right.
So both sides of Rodeo Road.
Hi. Okay.
And it ends right before the rodeo grounds? The legal description of the rodeo?
I think so. I think that's what, I haven't actually reviewed it too much, but it was that whole area where parking happens, basically.
Happens anyway.
Yeah, and camping and all of that type of stuff.
And I see an X in this little section. Or,
Coming to observe it until I feel like.
I'm wondering what that is.
Okay, rodeo park. Like blue.
Which is why I had the problem.
Yeah, no, it's,
And this is public property.
this is public property, yeah. No, it's this stuff here.
All the way down to.
Yeah, see, the rodeo association owns that right there.
Correct.
And then the rodeo park, this is supposed to be a light blue, it's all this right in here, and then that's a double ditch dog park.
Okay.
So basically, by making it a park, they're saying that it would never be developed for anything else except for public use that way, you know, for parking or for camping or for events or for, you know.
Okay, so making this whole section here, like when you come in on the highway,
Mhm.
on both sides of the road,
Mhm.
would be making that rodeo park. And I'm guessing that the rodeo board would have or the rodeo association would have an
An
MOU
Right.
or maybe a lease.
Well, that I think what has to be discussed. This is the way, by making this park and allowing, you know, having the option of an MOU with the rodeo association, then I think the mayor is feeling he'd have a better chance of having the rodeo voluntarily giving up that lease,
Because they
without having
currently have
to
a
push it in a court of law. So,
Yeah,
you know, switching it to an MOU type situation rather than the lease. So. But I don't know, I haven't been really involved in those conversations for a couple months now. So.
How do you feel about?
Did I explain that right, Brian?
Right now, the rodeo association has a lease with the county.
No, they have a lease with the airport board.
With the airport board.
Yes.
So they would have to give up that lease if we were to make it a park.
Well, they
Hmm.
don't necessarily have to. It's just we have a better chance of having them give up that lease because they realize it will be protected for their future use. They were, so that's more what it is. Because the validity of that lease has been brought into question several times by our attorney.
Right,
And that was the reason why,
the whole thing
the reason
fell
why it all
apart.
blew up last year.
Right,
So,
as to who's in charge of that particular piece of land.
right, and an MOU would give them that, having it be a park so that you're not, the city's not gonna sell it off to the highest bidder. There probably won't be development on it. We can have, it's a park for public use, and we could do an MOU with the rodeo station, just like we do with Lions Park or anybody else. You maintain it, you get to use it for your events, that type of thing.
And run the schedule for it, but they would still have to apply for
Well, all of
use
that
of
would
city-owned land.
No, not if you have an MOU, you do not have to apply for a use of city-owned land. So what you put in that MOU at that point is going to determine who has to apply for use of city-owned land and who doesn't. So if it's a rodeo-sponsored event, typically you don't have to apply. You know, like the ice rink, when they put on a hockey game, a hockey tournament, they do not come and apply
Of course not.
because their MOU has that in there that they
But
can put on.
Lions Park does.
Lions Park, if it's the Lions sponsoring an event, it depends on what their MOU says.
So that's,
If the Lions Park sponsor an event, they probably don't have to apply.
but if they're not,
But if it's not a sponsored event by Lions Park, then they do have to come and apply. So the trigger there is that the rodeo association at that point would have to be probably the sponsor of one of the sponsors of the event.
so such as the Harley Rally,
Yeah, if they were a sponsor of that event, then,
they would make all the arrangements.
right, but it just depends on what you put in the MOU. You can put whatever you want in an MOU as long as it's approved by our city attorney and the rest of council.
What I'm thinking is there's probably going to be a fee, for instance, if the Harley, because they actually charge the people to use it. So if they charge the campers to use it, even with the rodeo association, they're actually making money on a city parcel. And then therefore, maybe it should be a lease. Now, a lease doesn't mean that they have to pay for that lease. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right,
Some
no,
of the
and that's
events-
what you guys need to decide, is if you would lease that part to the rodeo association, and then they maintain it, they
maintain it.
basically have full control over it, or do you do an MOU like we do with every other user group out there? And, because it's a park, I would be probably going more towards an MOU, if you're gonna have it be a public park, so everybody can use it. If you lease a piece of land to someone, it becomes in their control and under their liability insurance, so they may not, you're looking at,
Well, if we designated a park and a group says that we want to have a big family reunion and camp in that park, do we send them to the rodeo association or do we send them to the city?
right now they do both, because there's confusion on who has control over that land.
Exactly.
So we want to clean that up. So, yes.
Mike?
Just on the MOU part, I think the big part for the rodeo was do an MOU where they can help the city maintain some things. And then in that MOU, have their specific days as theirs. And so it always gives them protection that another entity is not gonna come in and book at the same time. So that, I think that was kind of the thought of going to an MOU, that, hey, with this, we can guarantee for 5 years, 10 years, whatever, that these dates are yours. They're locked, they're yours, nobody else can apply. Where the other ones right now, Beartooth Rally, other ones, if another big event came in, said, I want this week, or this weekend.
Always.
Well, we have more than one, how do you decide? With the MOU, I think the rodeo could lock it down that
They decide.
these weeks, the fair, the rodeo, these weeks,
Right.
it's locked down.
The
It's
Renaissance
not
Festival that we
schedulable.
sponsor, the,
Can't schedule anything on these dates, because this is in our MOU for our use of the city park.
Our exclusive use.
Yep, and the city park is the prime way to make sure it can't be developed. And this process of that being a city park started 15 years ago.
Right, it just never
It
happened.
just never got finalized through council to actually turn it into a park. We tried this already once, it just never got finalized.
And I think all we have to do is pass the resolution and designate it a city park, and then you write the MOU and you work out the details.
Yep.
So I think all council is looking for is give us a resolution so we can vote on it, make it a city park. Then, the city will meet with the rodeo association and work out the details of hopefully an MOU.
Yeah.
And that still allows the city to make revenue off other big events.
Right.
I mean,
Exactly.
you never know what might come from one year to the next. It might get more popular, and we still make revenue on other events. Just we know these weeks are set for the rodeo for their event. Not necessarily just rodeo,
Right, because
but let them pick the dates that, hey, we know we have this every year. Hey, we
Yeah,
know we have this every year.
especially if it's an event that's using the rodeo grounds and they need the extra parking. Like if they come to them and say, we want to use the rodeo grounds, like the Renaissance Festival or the Iron Horse Rally. you
Or
know,
if we had a concert or,
Right, or a concert, then, they shouldn't necessarily have to go to Bow if it's just for parking. You could say, that would be part of that MOU, I guess.
would the city be losing revenue?
We don't charge for parking up there right now anyway, so no.
But we do charge for the camping or the,
We
parking.
don't charge for camping.
well, the
we-
city, use the city-owned land.
But we don't charge the rodeo right now for camping up there.
No, we don't for that, but we do for the Harley.
We're not actually, we're charging for their exclusive
use.
use of city-owned land up there, yes, for that particular group.
And that's where I was kind of going. So there'd be some loss of revenue,
But not,
not a horrendous amount of loss of revenue.
and right now, like during the 4th of July, a lot of that is being used for campers anyway, and it's not being, we're not charging them for it, so it would clean that up, I guess. You get a lot of pickups and horse trailers parked up there for the whole time.
And they always maintain it, don't they? The rodeo grounds, they maintain it when they have all the,
I think so.
oh.
Yeah, I
I've
haven't
never seen
I
it.
haven't been up there. I mean, they have
Public
cleanup
Works
crews,
is always maintained.
yeah.
After the rodeo, you guys go up and clean up after that?
Yeah, we've cleaned it, mowed it
Yeah,
afterwards, after ski going. Inside the rodeo grounds,
Yeah, I know that's
that's, they
private,
take care of that. But
yeah.
the parking lot, Public Works has maintained that area.
so it would save you guys quite a bit.
Yeah, the rodeo, if that was part of, because an MOU, they usually have to give us something and we give them something.
Right.
So like, for the maintenance of this, you get use of it for this. So we could have it where they spray the weeds, they maintain the, that's stuff you put in the MOU. You-
Right, the specifics.
Yeah,
And figured out that you're not imposing a big cost on the rodeo either.
right.
Yeah,
Because the city is going to use it for other events, we can still maintain some ownership on that. Simple one is every year before rodeo, we make sure we mow it. Takes one guy 3 days to mow that whole thing, so we don't have tall grass when pickups are pulling in and out.
Yeah, with hot
Fire.
mufflers
You know,
and,
hey, you guys mow it for the rodeo, we're good, we'll give you these dates.
so there is a savings to the city because you don't have to maintain
Yeah,
it.
we have one guy that can be doing something else, and so that's what you have to figure out on the MOU.
Is to come up with a list of things that they do and the
Yeah.
things that we do.
and typically, I mean, that definitely it happens between, the city, like I say, it's mainly just doing the rodeo park, get that resolution through, get that done, and then the mayor and public works department can sit down with the rodeo association and say, we need you to do this and we'll give you that kind of thing, and then the MOU comes to council and we say yay or nay.
So for today, we're discussing designating it as a park.
Mhm.
Definitely at the park.
Okay.
Hi, Cinta.
Hi, are we discussing the
Rodeo
rodeo
park.
park? Got it, noted. On it.
Do you have a copy of has the resolution been started yet? It has a number,
I
so.
haven't seen anything,
So, I can, we had a,
I saw that it had a number on here, 3644. So somebody did start it.
yeah, but,
Would be the park board? No, they couldn't do that.
no, it was, it was, Public Works that had started working on that, and then I think they, were turning it over
Okay.
to you guys, because it is, they said it's more land use than.
Yeah, I don't have a,
3644,
So there are,
hand off to Land Use and Planning Committee.
Yeah.
That's what's on the Public Works agenda.
right, so, but there are, sample
So-
resolutions out there where we, like Double Ditch Dog Park was probably the last one. Find that resolution,
Okay.
just put in Rodeo Park and,
so
and the new map showing,
so basically where we are is we'll wait till Public Works gives us the resolution.
they already did. They don't have I don't think they have a resolution written yet. They just
It
have
just
a number.
says, we just have a number.
So you just need to
And
go
it's on
out,
the number without a resolution.
It's right here, number 5.
I see that.
Hand off to Land Use and Planning item tonight.
So they're gonna hand it off tonight.
they already did at the last meeting.
Okay, well, we haven't
Here we
seen
go.
it, so it's really hard for us to go through all
Well,
of
there,
it.
there is no resolution, so it's just a number. So you have to write.
They're
the
just saying,
resolution.
tag, you're it.
Take it, you're it.
Okay.
Okay, so we
So-
were talking about the restrictions, so obviously we'd have, the Rodeo Association maintain, right? Maintain year-round, which is mowing, weeds,
I mean, just tip maintenance in general, right? Or do we need to be as specific?
Well, I wouldn't worry so much about the specifics of the MOU because you're not writing that yet.
no, I'm just kind of going through a list of what the city's responsibility is and what the Rodeo Association's responsibility
Right,
would
but
be.
that'll be a discussion between the city and the rodeo association, not necessarily council.
I'm talking about MOU.
Right,
And
we
an
don't,
MOU,
the council does not write the MOU. The city and the rodeo association write the MOU, and then we,
So ours is just the intent to create the
The
rodeo.
park.
So
you're
Our
writing a
resolution-
resolution to create the park. You don't
So-
have to worry about the MOU.
so we just need to set the boundaries.
it is already.
is.
Okay, so we already got that, then we just need to set the
Create a resolution.
That's all you have to do, is
the
write-
parties in which, who are joining the MOU.
We don't have to write the rules of the
Nope.
MOU,
No,
just say-
the-
Just write the resolution to create the park.
And I
Okay.
can
All you have-
actually look at the, one that was just done up at the end of where Whistler Observatory. That was the last park that we did.
Yeah, and Double
Or
Ditch
the-
Dog Park would be another one, so.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, the MOU that we have with Garden Club too, right?
But we're not gonna do
No,
it.
we're not writing the MOU.
We're just writing a resolution.
Oh, okay, gotcha, good.
Don't make it harder than
Sorry.
it is. Just
It's
write
a
the
lot
resolution to
simpler,
create the
it's a
park.
lot simpler
Bring it
than,
back.
than where I was going.
Got it,
Okay.
noted, I know.
Don't go down that rabbit hole yet, okay?
Okay.
Oh, wow, you
So,
could,
I assume, Doug,
Wait.
that you're okay with the
city park, that's fine.
city park?
Mhm.
Okay.
okay, what information pending from the mayor? Okay, where we're at, number 2.
Yours is different from mine.
Oh my God, seriously?
It's because they rewrote it.
Again?
Well, the one that we had is different. And basically, it's because I always ask questions in there, and they don't want questions, they just want a discussion.
Oh, so basically they just took all
It's the
this off.
it's the same topic.
MOU, annex, event permit,
Correct.
rodeo, or resolution
Because
3644.
they knew that and I didn't.
Oh, yeah, well, because I was looking at both Public Works.
Okay,
All right.
Sandy, if you need help writing that resolution, let me know.
I'm gonna take a stab at it.
Okay, you can stab at it, okay?
Yeah.
Do that. And then-
Okay.
Okay, and you're gonna take notes from now on?
Yeah.
And we'll do what we did last time, play
Yeah,
tag?
that's work, sorry. This is the last meeting in which I will be late, because I am out of school by the time May meetings roll around. Because our next
Cool.
meeting is what, May 14th?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we're done May 10th, and that's
How exciting.
Oh, yeah, not that I'm counting down or anything. Counting down, 13 days. Okay.
Annexation, hear any updates regarding Grandview South and Woodlands? I have not heard a word.
Other than what the commissioner said at the previous,
Other than what the commissioner said,
okay?
I do have a list from this morning, because this is kind of flopping over from public safety,
Okay,
because we got the map for the 5-mile radius that the police, through one of these MOUs, mutual assistance. We have a mutual assistance agreement. So frankly, they go not only for those 3 subdivisions that I believe were approved, because they have city sewer, with the thought that they could be annexed. They go almost all the way to Belfry, and you can see how massive this map is. This is the mutual, aid agreement with the police department.
Yeah.
So,
Interlocal, yeah.
so our Red Lodge Police Department services this whole area. Yeah, yeah. So the advantage of course, annexing those 3 subdivisions that have city sewer is that we would get their property taxes. The disadvantage is that Public Works would have to maintain the roads and right down to all the snow plowing.
Not necessarily.
Well,
If
there's
it's a
city-
planned unit development and you're responsible for your own snow plowing, you don't necessarily. You'd have to decide which of those roads are private versus public.
private versus,
Sometimes you have a private road in a subdivision that is not maintained by
Like they do
the
at the
county
golf
or
course,
the city, yeah.
like they do at the golf course.
Yeah.
And who decides that?
So, but whether it's a private road or a public road.
Do you have the original agreement?
I don't even know where to look.
I have it,
do you?
You have the subdivision agreements?
yeah, between Ron Henry and the city of Red Lodge.
Well, that's Grandview South. Do you have the one for Woodlands on Rock Creek?
I've
It was
never
about the
seen
same
that
time.
one.
Okay, so Woodlands, we don't have paperwork.
Woodlands is easy though, it's just one road going around.
Yeah, and I actually have a message into Jade, who's the HOA manager, to find out how much they spent in the last 3 years for snow plowing.
Right.
HOA manager?
I mean, the agreement with Ron Henry dictates the road width, the easement, the
Mhm.
future water easement, there's certain steps that need to be met before annexation. When those are met, they can't dispute it. I mean, it's pretty detailed.
Yeah,
I have it, I can give it to you.
I would love to see that, because I didn't know where to start, whether that was an agreement with the county, or whether that was only an agreement with the city, or whether it's both city and county.
It covers both.
Can you, I know Dave had Mike working on that, can you get him a copy of that, my people? Because I think that would help him out a lot.
Because we're trying to
He was supposed
balance.
be kind of doing a cost
Yeah.
analysis to see if it was going to be,
I thought Dave
Worth-
got it.
he might have it, I don't know.
so it's
It's been
basically,
distributed.
Okay, good, then they probably have it.
but we would not.
I mean, it would be useful for you guys.
Huge.
Yes.
Huge,
I mean,
both with the Public Safety Committee that's looking at it, and, for the land use. You know, that's the things we could do once we find out what that is.
I'm sure we did.
And I think I skipped event permits.
Oh, no worries.
Okay, so the event permits, I think I sent it to both of you. One is for less than 75 participants, and one is for obviously more than.
Okay.
And we were talking about putting these 2 together.
So, can I just, the reason why we have 2 separate ones is the under 75 is basically for our city parks, and it was for Courtney, because she'd get people who wanted to reserve the gazebo or wanted to reserve
Right.
a certain part of Lions Park, because they were gonna do a rehearsal dinner, and they didn't wanna go through, it gave her the
Oh.
ability to just, as a department head, approve those without having, you know, because it was just on the city park.
Well, She
Okay.
can approve both of these, can she not?
No, the mayor has, well, she can't anymore, 'cause she's not here.
But I mean, she could have approved both.
No,
No,
no, because one of
one
them goes to all the department heads for the police department and for the public works and for, where we were trying to come up with a smaller event application, because I was on that committee, that basically was just to reserve a park. So just whatever department head is in charge of that park, and so that and she had a separate calendar for those events, so people weren't, you know, if I want to have a kid's birthday party, in the gazebo, I wanna be able to make sure that when I show up with 25 kids, I'm able to do that and not have somebody else already there. And I'm willing to pay that $25 to reserve that.
And how did you,
Ooh,
how did you physically reserve it?
It was on Courtney's calendar.
No, I mean, so let's say.
They had to call Courtney or email her.
What I'm saying is, let's say you wanna reserve the gazebo, it's approved, you get there and there are people sitting there, do you have to kick them off? Or do
Courtney
they
was
rope it
gonna
off?
Courtney was gonna have a slip or something like that that they would put up and say reserved from this time to this time. I don't know where that ended up being
okay.
or what happened with that, but typically when people reserve a park or, part of it, you can, you can put up some type of reserved,
Themselves,
Yeah.
the people having it.
well, no, the city would put up something that says this park is reserved on this day.
So
But you would just
under-
put it up that morning, so that people can use it all those other times.
It doesn't look like that, is a smaller packet than the other.
It was supposed to be,
Well, and that's what I was just going through, I'm like,
It was
there's,
supposed to be.
going
it
one,
seems
two.
like there's the
Yeah.
same questionnaire.
It
for-
looks identical,
Well,
doesn't
Courtney
it?
was supposed to work up a smaller,
Yeah, like, there's
shorter,
still-
like, one-page application.
It even is expecting a business, like, signature.
Yeah, and,
So, should
if
we-
you wanna make an even smaller, like, one-page
well, and that's what I'm wondering, like,
application
if we
for-
wanna do like a smaller, less than 50, like, make this more streamlined and more easily acceptable than, I mean,
Then,
like, I think little kid birthday party, wedding.
yeah.
Does that make sense?
And what Dave was talking about was that a lot of time our events are not really used as city-owned land.
They're not, and I've had that conversation with him and we had that big conversation, I think Pete was on the committee, it's like how, during that discussion, it's like, if you go down that slope, what events are exempt from applying?
Mm-hmm.
And like how, if I have a big graduation party, for the seniors at my house and invite people over, that's an event. Do I have to do I have to
Go through a permit?
go through a permit process?
And I thought
I
that,
mean, like, because then everybody's gonna say, well, it was a private party. I don't have to get an event permit, but.
Well, you're not on
it's
city-owned
a-
land unless
But,
you're.
yes,
but
but
he's
see,
saying it's,
any event, he's saying any event.
yeah, he's
it
saying
doesn't-
event, whether or not they use city-owned land.
Oh, dear
But-
Lord, I have lots of events, no.
That would be sort of like, one
Family
of the
reunion.
parades, where they're,
Well, no, that's on city land.
That's on city land.
well, it's not on city, it's city
Controlled,
maintained,
yeah, it's on
controlled.
city controlled land, the roads, yeah.
So maybe that, some of these should say city-owned
Because
versus city
if
controlled.
Magpie has a concert upstairs, that's an event, do they have to get a permit? It's open to the public, I mean,
I think there's a difference
where do
in
you
city,
draw that line?
where it's
That's what we ran into, that's why we didn't do it that way.
city controlled versus city.
Well, it's city-owned land, but, so we basically we changed the ordinance, so basically if it's under city control, including the parade routes, including, the
The
sidewalks,
park.
right-of-ways, parks, city-owned land, then you have to do a permit.
Okay.
But if it's on private property, we.
How does that work with, like, I'm having a party at the Silver String?
That's just it, like any business in town that has an event would technically then have to get.
City.
I think that's overreach of government.
So I mean, it's worth a conversation, but when we had that conversation, we decided we didn't want to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right. I know that he had brought it up, but.
No, I don't agree with that at all. That would be like every time I've had family reunion or
Well, nobody knows that
birthday
you
parties or,
It's one thing to use the city-owned land or block the streets or whatever. They
Right.
know that they're gonna have to ask, but if they have something at their house
or
and the
in their own
parking,
business.
and they use, all the parking on both sides of the street, they shouldn't have to
See, well, and
close.
this has come up multiple times because of the rally. Because the only time she asked for a event permit
Mhm.
is for camping. The only thing that's approved is for the camping part.
No,
But she's putting on an event that, brings a lot of people to town.
so what are they,
And,
other than
and the Fourth
camping?
of July. I mean, the only thing that would really qualify for an event application is the parade. The rodeo, which brings, 10,000 people to town, does not need an event application because it's on their property.
Except for the parade.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, the only thing
But
that would
it's
need
part
it
of the
would be the parade.
Okay.
Does
So
the,
that's the way it is written right now,
So what's the,
so,
I'm failing to miss, like, what's the problem with it? Like,
well, the issue is people want the city to approve these big events. But do you wanna go there?
no, because then you're having to, like we were just saying, like, that's, you're opening a can.
Well, see, and all of Heather's stuff that she does is in her business.
Right.
The signups for the,
right,
the
Yeah.
poker runs and the poker,
And all,
they're
all-
just driving on a highway. But
Is-
they're coming to town and they're driving on our highway. And it does impact, and so does the 4th of July, the rodeo, it impacts our public safety services. So we're not able to collect extra money to help pay for that. And Dave's issue was that she came in and applied for the camping, and they have their own security. There's no real extra public safety issue with the camping, it's the whole event. And he was not able to, he didn't feel that he could charge her for an extra officer in that situation, because the extra officer isn't security up at the camping. It's for the whole event that she's not even having to fill out an application for.
see, now we're getting closer.
yep.
So the
He says
real,
he wants it uniform across
So,
these events.
so can we, so in the event that we have 75 participants, if we have an event that one spans over, what, the rodeo and the Harley rodeo both span over, what, 48 hours, 96 hours? Can we do it in terms of that, like in the event, if the event is going to
Be multiple days.
multiple days?
Well, and then on, to play devil's advocate,
Mm-hmm.
we need the big events for resort tax. That's
Right.
funding our town
Yeah.
and our city. So,
but not our police.
but not our police. So it just,
So just, if, then we just put in, is there one in there for
Yes, there
extra
is.
public safety?
I believe that there is. a
Because I'm
public
pretty sure
safety.
we increased
there is,
public
but
safety
he
over
wants,
the 4th of July.
but nobody's filling out an application for the 4th of July.
But that's using city-owned land for staging.
They've never had to fill out an application.
Because that's staging, that's using, literally using city-owned land and blocking off some streets.
Right, but do they need, I don't know.
Well, no, and I get your devil's advocate here, where we're like, okay, it's bringing people in, do we really want to?
Do you want to curtail that? Because the parade
Oh.
really makes zero money, and, you don't want the 4th of July parade to go away.
Well, the parade does make a lot of
It
money.
generates it
It
but
generates funds
for
for
business, but I
Business,
get,
businesses.
Yeah, I know,
Who
but
pay resort tax. Yeah.
so kind of a full
I'm just
circle there.
saying the parade itself, the organizers of the parade have like a
They're not putting money
$500
in there.
budget, if that, They
Mm.
have a very small budget, because
No,
they,
I know.
it's a free parade, they don't charge people to enter the parade.
And
So, these are the questions, that's why when you said you wanted to take a stab at it, I was like.
Okay.
well, the other idea is that the car show
Mhm.
actually pulls a permit because you block off
Side streets,
side streets.
correct.
That
Again,
are city-owned land.
so and see, again, that's another event that spans multiple days.
2 days, yeah. Yeah, well,
But they're,
it's
but they,
actually 24 hours,
Well, it,
yeah.
but they do use
Because we're done
city-owned
by
land.
2
They
o'clock,
use
yeah.
city-owned land, so they are paying for
We
it.
pay, yeah.
yeah.
We pay $100 per street that's
So
blocked
is
off.
it fair to say that the car show, bringing all those people in, need more policing than the Harley rally? Or are you gonna say all those Harley guys are rowdy and therefore we're gonna charge them for the police, extra
That's,
police?
how do you do
But we're
that?
not gonna charge the 60, 70-year-old $100,000 cars police. So you can't do one without the other.
Exactly, so do we even go down that?
That's what Dave is saying, he wants
We should go down that road.
uniform, he wants uniform guidelines, because right now it's very subjective. And the mayor last year charged Heather $5,000 for an extra officer.
Yes, she did.
And no other event in town got charged that.
That's,
And all she applied for was use of city-owned land up at the
For
rodeo
camping.
grounds
For camping.
okay.
that had their own security.
So he didn't charge her this year because he's like, I can't in good conscience charge her and not
And
charge
not charge the other
the others.
one. Yeah, I
So
agree.
he's like, he wants something uniform, either take it completely out, or what do we do? If they bring so many people into town, do you
How
charge
do
more,
we-
do you just make the event application more?
That's what I, yeah,
Subjective will get us sued.
No,
the
that's,
problem.
that's what,
that's why we're trying to
it's
keep it
very
uniform.
subjective right now.
Exactly.
That's what he's saying.
Right
He's like,
now,
if I charge her, I could get, he's like, we're lucky we don't get sued from.
Well, and here's the thing,
She should.
like, all of these events in well, minus the rodeo, but like the Harley Rodeo and the car show,
Well, and then there
are-
was Summerfest, we had a, you
yeah,
know, it was.
and so these are all,
Was open.
I'd say relatively new. I mean, I guess
And
they've been
Christmas
around for
stroll,
a
you
hot
know.
minute
Yeah,
in my lifetime.
Mhm.
So they've kind of grown, but are they kind of,
But you don't want them to go away. We need
no,
our
exactly, and that's
events,
the thing,
so
where I'm like, have they
you have to
gotten,
be careful you don't, like, make it so hard for someone to put on an event that they don't ever do it again.
no, but here's the thing, so like, we just started the Summerfest, and,
and we allowed alcohol.
Yeah, we waived the open container.
I think that may be, I mean, obviously, if you make it an open container, if we suspend that, we might need more police with an open container.
Exemption.
And maybe that's what
but do
we
we
need to
want an
have
open
on here.
container for the Fourth of July?
Oh,
Do we
we,
want-
Slash Harley,
how-
slash car
we
show?
don't know, well,
But
we
if you
had,
offer it
we
for
did have
one-
the open container exemption for,
The Summerfest.
well, we did too by Market 55 when we were registering. We had a bar there, remember? last
Yeah,
year?
yeah.
Oh, I
So-
remember.
So should that be the trigger for an extra police?
Well, and that's where we,
And does
I
that
think
mean?
it would have to be, then,
does
well,
that
we
mean
already
Harley?
charged, but you already charge more for alcohol. So I would say,
well, open container though.
that's what I'm saying. If
Okay.
you're serving alcohol at your event, there's already an extra charge for that. So do you just increase that charge?
Multi-day, well,
And
here,
then-
I'm writing
and
down
not
all the
even-
different alcohol, multi-day,
I think you need to base it too on the number of participants.
so how do
in your
we,
event.
how do we do that with, I mean, are
Well,
we
if you
able,
think you're gonna have 10,000 participants at an event, then
so
the
10,000?
city needs to know what your security is going to be
Right,
like.
so is that
So
the threshold,
you can-
10,000?
And if we don't find it adequate, like your security plans, then we say, well, okay, well, you're gonna have to pay us for however many extra officers we
Right.
feel we're gonna need to maintain the peace.
Okay, so,
But what you're running into though is like, do you then just do that for all of these big events that come in?
well, that's
The
where I'm
Fourth of
wondering.
Ju- I mean, the rodeo association is gonna say, hey, we don't have any control where they go after the rodeo, that's on you guys.
Yeah, well, and that, the same with
Yeah,
all of them.
yeah, same with Beartooth Rally, she's like,
And, like, and how do we
I try to
know-
get them out of town, I send them on a poker run.
Yeah,
You know, I make it, you know, and the other events that are, like the street dance at the Snow Crate, they're like, he
takes care of that.
yeah, and he has
His
extra,
own.
yeah, security and stuff like that, but, and his thing is, it's like, well, I don't have any control where they go at after they leave here. So I don't know, I mean, it's a horrible conversation, I mean, there's not an easy solution to it.
Have we, I feel like this is something that we might want to bring up with, one, the rodeo association, and say, hey,
We can go there right now.
well, not in the sense that this is what we're doing, but do you have an idea? Like, let's try to work together on this one, because,
Is there a question in here about security, like, do you,
Yeah, there is, but it's only if they're using city-owned land.
you're right.
So if you
or
want,
city controlled?
or city
Mm.
controlled, so, I mean, if you want to create like a big event application, whether they're using city-owned land or not, then you're gonna have to, you know, that's
Well,
another
The
story.
Beartooth Rally uses the highway, we don't close it off.
Yeah, but so does everybody. Like,
I
you
know,
can't tell.
everybody has the right to use that highway.
Yeah, you
Everybody, same with the car
Yeah.
show, everybody has the right to do that.
Except we get a permit for ours because we park there.
You park on the road.
We park
Well,
on
and we
the
close off the parking for general
Yeah.
public
So
too.
we get a permit. The car show does get a permit.
I've always wondered why we don't, close off Broadway for the Harley.
They did one year and everybody got mad.
Really?
Yeah, during COVID, they closed it.
I think we should have closed it for the Fourth of July too, but,
I do too, I just think it's safe, it's a matter
I
of
mean, right
safety.
after the road, yeah, like the one year where it was the COVID and we had to close it down instead of doing the road, like, keep it closed during.
Yeah, you're gonna get a lot of pushback from businesses if you do
Yeah,
that.
well, and then there's no, I mean,
Everybody in town knows how to get around.
I know, but it's the visitors. They're like, oh, it looks like Red Lodge is closed. They won't stop. No, I've had them complain to me about that. We
So-
have Summerfest, so.
If you listen, we're talking about so many exceptions,
right.
so I don't think it's practical to try to come up with a one shoe fits all.
I
It
agree.
isn't.
Okay, so what is not working right now?
The ability to,
Police.
well, it's not the ability to police, it's the ability, like, if we have a big event and we need extra patrol, an extra, you know, foot guy out there walking around, walking the beat, you know, and the extra, you know, then to pass that expense on to the event organizer. There's no way to, it's very subjective right now, and it's based on like per event.
Well, it's gonna
application.
stay subjective,
But
because
that-
there's so many varieties.
But the mayor does not want it that way
Well,
because,
it's not an option. There is no one shoe fits all.
and that may be the answer.
Like,
Yeah.
there's too many variables in this for us to come up with one, because there's no, yeah. And it's even more subjective is that one year we may get a huge turnout for the Harley Rodeo, and the next year it might fizzle, you know, and vice versa with the car show or whatnot, and the car show might grow exponentially.
Yeah.
And it,
Well, in Summerfest, I don't know if Summerfest is gonna happen again, but that to me would be a prime example. If that grew into a
Yeah.
huge concert, long day, you know, day-long concert with drinking, then absolutely, you know, they either need to pay for security because it's a
Mhm.
concert, or, you know, the city's gonna have to
And because
charge
of the
them.
open container,
Yeah, and the alcohol, yeah.
I think that the open container triggers security all by itself.
Well, I think you're gonna have to wait till that event happens and deal with it then, as opposed to say, well, what if something happens in the future? We gotta come up with a rule now to handle it.
there's too many variables.
No,
We
there
can't,
So,
I do, would like it added, in there though for parking, because we talked about that today.
okay, so.
About, you know, the Ghostbusters vehicle parked in front of the, Roma Theater, because it's only 4-hour parking, and he did come in, they came in
Permit
and
for
They
wanted
wanted
a
to pull a
permit.
permit.
They wanted to pull a permit, because it's part of their, you know, Ghostbuster movie event. And there was no, I mean, all we have is that. So, for someone, and maybe that goes along with the short form, where, you know, you come up with a fee for someone to do a promo like that, use the public right-of-way for whatever the time frame is. and come up with
Promotional
that.
extended parking.
Yeah,
something
extended
like that.
past
But,
4
and
hours,
obviously, you're not gonna give them like a parking spot in front of their business for the whole summer,
no.
but, you know.
But like, hey, for this,
For
yeah.
this week, we're doing this, and I do
and between the
know,
times of this and this, you are permitted.
the only thing that I think you're limited to is, if it's a state highway, I don't think you can park a vehicle there for more than 5 days. So you might wanna double check that,
Okay.
because that's a state law, so you have to
check
take
into
that
that
into
one?
consideration,
Mhm.
so. But it would have been nice, you know, if, because you don't want just everybody just all of a sudden pulling up and parking in front of their business and putting a big, you know, whatever out there,
Right, like the big,
taking up a parking spot, and,
Well, I was trying to think of how that could be abused, because somebody could be having a sale and put a car right in front of their business, big sale, and have it there for a week.
yeah, exactly. So you just, they need to get a permit, and it has to be, you know, reasonable what they're doing,
Mhm.
so. Like,
Short of a sale.
I don't know. I mean, but if you're having a sale, you're not gonna pay $25 a day to park your vehicle there like that. I wouldn't, that's, I don't know.
get a
No.
sign flipper, you'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly, because you have the frontage in front of your business.
Well, you don't really. But-
well, you can, it says you can put signs up, like right
But-
here.
Right.
Do you wanna suck up your parking for your business?
No, not in front of your, no, on the sidewalk.
On
Oh,
sidewalks
on
and
the
stuff.
sidewalk.
But, okay, so you want something specifically for parking, an event permit?
Yes,
Yeah,
Okay,
parking permit,
kind of, you know, it's an event. It
city
has to
controlled
be,
land.
it has to be an event. Like if I were doing a grand opening and I wanted to reserve the front of my business and be out there selling, you know, giving away cotton candy or whatever, you know?
For a grand
Or,
opening.
yeah, making
Mhm.
smash burgers, you know, and I wanted to take up my whole sidewalk there, then, you know, it would fall
So be
into
it.
that type of
Okay.
thing. And if I wanted to include part of the parking there, you know, that's,
gotcha. Okay,
And I'm pretty sure you can't take up the sidewalk.
no, I'd have to leave it halfway.
Yeah,
sweet.
I'd have to show where the flow of traffic would be in the pathway, how it works.
right.
Okay, well, this is, yeah, as far as the permits though, that is a discussion that has to be,
Well, I'm gonna try to reduce the 75 participant limit down to something less.
Yeah.
yeah, that
We're
one,
down to our last
'Cause
6
honestly,
minutes here.
that was for like small events in cars, basically.
yeah, and it is just as long as the,
It is.
It's
one
just
for-
the
They're
insurance
both 7
requirements
pages.
I mean,
less.
well, except the fees are substantially shorter.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, they are.
longer, yeah, okay, yeah, that's
Yeah.
you, good job, thanks.
It's like $25 or whatever, and then you only have to show your homeowner's insurance instead of having an event policy,
Okay,
that type of thing was.
Okay, well, the last one on here is the MOU versus the lease. And, Cynthia, you weren't here, I had asked Danae to pull the MOUs, and I got them back
mhm.
quite a few years.
Oh,
So Doug has agreed to sit down with me, we're gonna go through these and see if there's some
did you agree with it?
Well, there's, and to see
I'll be glad to help.
what kind of consistency is in here.
What,
Well,
okay,
there's
what
the
is
MOU.
subjective?
This
Yeah.
is for mutual assistance, that's for the police and
The big,
yeah,
yep, circle.
yeah. And this one's for library,
Mhm.
this
Well,
one's for the
it's-
Red Lodge
I
Lion.
think Pete's one that brought it up, and that's, you know, what has open-ended? We have to end them.
Yes,
make sure
they
they have
all
end.
need to,
And then review them going forward. Do we want lease? I think we should lean towards lease,
Mhm,
and then see which ones are valid.
okay.
There's some, I'm sure there's some in there that aren't even valid nowadays.
yeah, there weren't, I mean, you know what? This list, actually, the first MOU was, that I gave her was from 2006, first time home buyer program. So, yeah,
What, there's an MOU for that?
yeah,
So if they don't have ending dates.
So if they have no
We'll establish an ending date.
established
yeah, we'll
It's-
have to
it's
look
done.
at them and do something about it, yeah. So
terminations,
it's an interesting, list that they have in here.
that's a lot of MOUs.
They're not, no, this is, they have books over there with like 500 at least, and it's contracts and MOUs and leases and agreements. So they're all lumped together. So what I did is I circled the MOUs, anytime I saw an MOU that wasn't a contract,
Mm,
I asked Anita for a copy of it, so that's what that pile is there. So we'll go
Okay.
through those,
have
and
Doug and Sandy go through
we don't
that.
even wanna start with the leases.
No.
So we're
Those are
not
just
gonna,
MOUs.
yeah. It looks to me like MOUs started, you see, there aren't any, there are very few MOUs
Prior to,
prior to, there's that one in 2006. And then the next one isn't until 2014.
mhm.
So in 2014, we started doing MOUs instead of leases or agreements.
Okay,
And, we have to determine MOU, agreement, lease,
mhm,
when to do which,
noted.
because it's messy.
It looks messy, it looks
I still feel that leases should be reserved for,
building.
yeah, if it's a privately owned structure on city land, then absolutely that needs to be some type of lease agreement. MOUs are more, for when public still has access to the entire area and it's open to the public. And then you have a user group that wants exclusive use during, you know, some things that they do in exchange for that exclusive use, they will do such and such to help maintain it or do, you know, for the city.
I was thinking like for the, observatory, the MOU should include the entire park, not just their footprint.
I
Well,
think it does.
Oh,
I thought it was for the entire,
no,
Van Dyke?
no, because it's all walking and stuff like that. I don't think
There's
that's.
a trail on
Yeah,
there,
there's a trail on there.
hmm,
And the,
But it should
BRTA
have-
maintains the trail and.
but there should be, you know, this is what you're in charge of, and this is what the city will do.
Well, if it's a privately owned building, it should be a lease.
That was my,
Like, the Silver Strike leases
Is a
the
lease.
city-owned land.
and they have complete control over it.
Right.
And the observatory has complete control over it.
But I'm just one vote, but
it's
I
not on
would
a
say,
park, it's not in a park, but it is city-owned land.
yeah, you use a lease on city-owned land. You don't necessarily use a lease on a city park, because the city park is always open to the public.
but a structure that is privately owned on the city land.
On a
Right.
on a
Yeah,
park.
then that footprint, that, whatever.
So
Insurance,
basically, we think that if there's a building on
Yeah, and I
city-owned
think
land,
what
it
I-
should be a lease and not an MOU.
Yep, private structure on city land.
well, just, you know, okay, decide what that looks like, I guess, you know, because the ice rink is owned by Red Lodge Ice. But they let everyone use it.
But they put the ice as considered ice
But it's not a permanent structure.
They're talking about putting a permanent structure there,
eventually.
yeah,
But, yeah,
But would it be it would be part of the park, it would be the city owns it,
it would become,
yeah, because the city would use it in the summer as part of the park.
okay. Okay.
okay, so clean that up.
Do we have anything from the public that wants to discuss land use? Yes, Pete?
You got a lot of stuff on the table here. Just so I know we don't have any time, my only parting thought would be to put off the rodeo park until the city and the airport board has something solid. Because if you make a rodeo park prior to that, all of those, particulars coming to an agreed-to solution, it might affect the rodeo park adversely.
Okay.
So I would do the airport board and the city agreement first, and then I would look at that and see if it does anything negative to the rodeo park.
Well, we also, the rodeo association would have to, terminate their lease with the airport board, so all of those things
You
need to
can
be,
still make it a park.
That's just one
That's true,
yeah.
citizen's opinion, but
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, definitely. Well, we have until May 31st to finish, so we have another month, 6 weeks, to finish the agreement between the city, county, and airport board.
no pressure.
No,
Well, it's been worked on for years, basically.
Mine.
I mean, I
Yeah,
thought
a full
it was
year.
coming close to
Yeah,
A year.
conclusion.
yeah, it's been a year,
yeah,
so.
sweet, okay.
Anyone else? Okay.
Going once, going twice, all right.
Public Works.
4:45, nice work.
I'll send you my note.
Sweet, and then I will fill in where I left off. But like I said, this will be the last, what is this?
Something they sent to us.
All of us got one? It's not just me, so I don't have to feel like
No,
I did
not-
something wrong.
Not just you.
Were you able to go to Rotary Club about Lily?
I was, and they all just stood there like lumps.
Really?
And I thought I would go ahead and donate.
Okay, well, and here's what Elks Club did. They worked a little finagling with her, where they're like, okay, we would be more than willing to help
All yours.
as long as
Thank you,
she's willing
sir.
to help us.
Appreciate it.
And so I volunteered Lily's time to assist any elk veteran event that she, for them to do. So Rotary Club, if you need her to put up
Heroes Project.
the Heroes Project, to put up the signage, you know,